ערב טוב לכולם, ברוכים הבאים לתוכנית השראה מעשית. Good evening everyone. I'm glad to be here in the Practical Inspiration Show, and I'm very excited and delighted to have a special guest from United States, from Santa Monica, Dr. Prudence Hall. Hi Prudence.
ערב טוב. Hello.
I see you've been practicing your English, your Hebrew.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
no. Can.
That's a good start.
Well,
I'm very honored, and I thank you very much for taking the time to be with us on the show. You know, I invited Israeli women to be with us tonight on the live webcast, and many women signed for it because I think your topic and what we're going to talk about tonight is one of the most important issues of being a woman in our time, in this era.
Yes, well, I have spent many years exploring this issue of women, and
Yes.
We are very important. How we evolve, who we are, how we choose to live our lives. It's all of it. It affects communities, worlds, and political decisions. Every level it affects the world.
Yeah, and especially nowadays, you know, when you see so many harsh things and violence, I think that we women as leaders should bring something else to the world discussion or world politics with our energy.
Yes, our energy we could describe as a force to be contended with, but there's a gentleness to it, and there's an understanding of how things grow, and that the plant needs to grow in a very organic way, and you don't step on the plant. So we have, you know, in our DNA, we have millenniums and millenniums of knowing how to nurture and give life.
Yeah. So I want to introduce you in a few words. I'll do it in English, and I want to introduce myself to, if there are people on the show who doesn't know me. My name is Orly Bar-Kima. I am a journalist. I'm an author. I work with women and empower them. I'm a public speaker and a life coach. And I do all these things because I believe that we can transform our life, and we can enjoy our life, and we can be more that we even dream that we can be and achieve in life. And I initiated this show, the Practical Inspiration Show, a year ago because I had a vision that I can be, and this show can be, a kind of a bridge for people to communicate directly with the leaders, with teachers, with the world leaders from all over the world who are changing lives, who are affecting people, and not so very much we get in direct connection with them. So I wanted that this show will bring the energy of peace and of unity and of love and do good in the world. That's my life purpose. So thank you for coming, and I want to introduce you, Dr. Prudence Hall. You are the founder and medical director of the Hall Center in Santa Monica. You was trained as a doctor, and now you integrate into your clinic more holistic and organic healings for women. And I understand that you have a very big vision for women in the world. And I would like to start by asking you that, did you know since you were a little girl that this is what you want to do? You want to be a doctor? You wanted to heal people?
No, when I was little, I just wanted to play. I had no idea about my career. In fact, it wasn't until I was living in Europe that I realized that my life had a real purpose to it and a real definition. And that's when I started really understanding that each path had taken me to being a doctor healer. My path as a very young child, even though I was just playing, I was actually healing all kinds of little animals and people and things. And it was really a wonderful realization when I realized this is what I'm meant to do and this is who I'm meant to be. It wasn't until I was in college.
So when did you had the understanding that you are a healer and that you have a mission in life?
I was a junior at the University of California, and I took a year of absence. I lived in Europe when I was younger, and I went back to Europe, and that was a year of reflection that I took, where I started studying poor women in developing countries and looking at their plight. It was women in other countries deal with so many issues, and I kept saying, how can I help? How can I be in service? What can I do for these women who are being killed and disrespected and dominated by men in really terribly brutal ways? And I realized that the skills that I had, I'm kind of like in Princess Bride. I'm trying to take the castle, and I look at the skills I have, and the skills that I had were my own humanity and my own understanding of what life needs. And I put it together, and I said, I need to be a doctor. It was very hard to become a doctor at that point in the United States, very competitive. But I knew that
for women, you mean? Hard for women to be a doctor?
It was just difficult in general. For example, my father was a provost of the university, and I went and told him, I called him, I said, look, I'm going to be a doctor. He said, no, too competitive. He said, that's too competitive for you. But Orly, because I knew in my very core that this was who I was meant to be, there was nothing that could have stopped me. And I became a doctor.
So you became a doctor, and you were a practitioner and gynecologist, right, for many, many years, in a traditional, modern Western methods, scientific methods.
Yes, I trained with the poorest population of women in Los Angeles for 8 years. Very, very poor women. And then I went out into another form of practice where I was a busy surgeon. I started my own practice, and I was a very busy surgeon using all the information that I had gained from my residency. But the thing was, I realized it wasn't enough. It actually wasn't what my clients needed.
So what happened one day that you said it's not enough? I need to do something else. I need to take it to a different direction. What happened there? What happened for you?
Well, I trained at USC, the University of Southern California, in an emergency type medicine as a gynecologist, but women would come in bleeding and dying and with very, very difficult situations. And it was my job to step in and to basically save their lives. In private practice, little by little, there were no emergencies like that. And what I saw is women needed to lose weight, and they felt badly about themselves because they were 40 pounds overweight after they had delivered their babies. They were depressed. They were having marital problems. These kind of problems that we typically encounter in life were the types of things that I was encountering. And I didn't have that skill set really to help these clients. And it was really shattering for me to realize that I'd spent basically 12 years studying, and I didn't have the skills that they needed to be helped.
What you are describing, that you had the talents and you had the tools to deal with the physical body aches, but not the tools to deal with the emotional and maybe mental problems which we face every day as women and as people.
That's correct. And I spoke with my patients in Spanish, which was for me, that was a more limited, slightly more limited language. And then, in my own practice, I had an outpouring of emotions and thoughts and feelings. And I was trained not to feel as a doctor. I was trained to get the job done, take care of business, but not to allow their stories to affect me too much. That was really part of the medical training. And I had to go through my own process of feeling again, feeling their pain and my pain, before I really became an effective doctor. And I think that it's very, very wrong to squash out a doctor's humanity and feel that they're then going to be in service.
Yeah, you know, I heard once Deepak Chopra made the discernment between being a doctor and treat people and heal and healing, which is two different, totally different areas. Because when you are a doctor, you can treat only the symptoms of the disease. And also when you're a healer, you go to the core, to the essence, to the source of the problem, and you solve it from there. Am I correct? Is it what you felt there?
Yes, I think that's very true. Doctors would never be called healers. That would be actually, in my medical training, if you even use the word that you were going to heal someone or help them heal, that was really quite unacceptable. And I agree with Deepak. It takes a whole different emotional understanding. It's an inside job many times.
And why did you choose to work with women especially? I know that you treat in your clinics also men and women, but you specialized in women. That's a question I'm asked most of the time, because I usually work with women also when I do my workshops and my trainings and my seminars. But what drew you to work with women and to have a new vision, as I understand, for women?
Well, I knew that I wanted to be a gynecologist and help women even before I knew that I wanted to be a doctor. So I never would have said I want to be a doctor or a physician. I always said I want to be a gynecologist. And I understand women. I grew up in a family with women, and it was a time when I was training, well, actually when I was in high school, that the women's movement was just starting. Mm-hmm. And I felt like I was part of that women's movement. And it was a radical thing that swept the United States and also the world, that women had more to offer and that women weren't being treated right. So when I went into international relations in developing countries, I concentrated on women's problems. And we all know the plight that women still face. I mean, it's really it's heartbreaking. And whatever I felt that I could bring to women on every level would help to empower them. It's in my core. I'm a woman, and I understand women's issues.
Yeah, and you started when you started your clinic in the integrative way, and you started to bring more traditional and ancient medicine and healing into your practice. What did you think? People thought. I know, because when I left the television where I worked, and I said I need time out and I need to reflect and I need to transform my life, people told me, what's going on with you? Are you crazy? You're leaving a job in the Israeli television? People would kill to be in your job. And I said, what's going on with you? Did you feel that when you made the shift?
Well, I definitely felt the shift within the medical community, and I was a little clandestine about it. When I would go to the meetings, I wouldn't be speaking about the integrated health field. I would be speaking more about my experience with the birth control pill, for example, hurting women's hormones and causing a lot of the menopausal symptoms. So I would approach it in a scientific way, with the outer community. But they started to get wind of it pretty quickly, but I also had personal relationships with all of them. So they understood that it was really who I was. It was a little suspect. It happened so.
You are like a traitor to them,
Mm-hmm. Yes, I got a number of very, very bad yelps from one doctor who was very threatened by me, and I kept saying, "Come on, we're friends. What are you doing?" But it was, he pretended to be a patient. I think that people were jealous of the fact that it was so successful, and so many people were coming to me, and so many people were coming from all over the world to get this kind of help. And I kept saying, "I'll teach you. I'll teach you." It was a slow process. Well, first of all, I bought in Ayurveda, and then I bought in Chinese acupuncture, and then I bought in sound healing. So it was a slow process of integrating what works. For me, it was always, Orly, what works? How can I help people? What works? And bringing tools that help people to heal.
And when you made the shift, did you see immediate results in women that came to your clinic? Did you see that they were truly healing from what they suffered or from what they had?
Yeah, it's all in the results. I always, when I sit with a new client, I already see her as, for example, she'll come in tired and depressed, and she can't get out of bed, and she hasn't gone shopping or grocery shopping or done her work in a year, for example. That's a very typical patient I have. And I already see her well and vibrant and laughing. And that's what happens, Orly. And it's those results that led me to integrate medicine. I couldn't do it just with a pill. We're not simply pill deficient. We're deficient in love. We're deficient in our body chemistry. We need energy in our bodies. So it really spans many fields and many philosophies.
So let's talk a little bit about the emotional problems and the emotional barriers that we carry inside us. Because you're talking, and you're talking a little bit, you're taking it a little bit to the spiritual realm when you say things like, I see a wholeness. Even if she's suffering and she's sitting in front of me, I see her healthy and vibrant. And it's taking me to this place that, we are not only this physical body. We are not our jobs. We are not our titles and our cars and houses. That there is something more, something inside that is vibrant, that is eternal, that is, and from what I say, you want to approach this part of us and heal it. Am I right?
I feel that without a consciousness or a conscious aspect of each person coming into play, that real vibrancy and wellness will not happen. So change your consciousness, change your physical well-being. And as I progressed in the pursuit of wellness and vibrant health for my clients, I realized it's not just physical body. It's not just the hormones and enzymes and diet and sleep habits. It's not just that. It's also bringing and understanding our trauma and our wounding. What really happened to us? What emotions do we bring to us? And then it's living our life's true purpose. Because someone could be perfectly fit and healthy and live to 120, but be so unhappy because they don't know who they are or what they're meant to do. So consciousness pervades everything. And if we were really very, very awake, simply change our thoughts, change our physical being. But we're not there. We need to bring the three of them together. Really, it's like bringing the hands together of life.
Yeah, and this bringing the hands together is the Namaste sign, which says, I recognize the divinity in you. In the East, in India and in Eastern traditions. And I want to ask you, I work with women also, and I want to go a little bit down to earth. And I just turned 52 years ago, and we had like a celebration, and I had a few friends who turned 50. And the common conversation and the common topic in these parties of us being 50 years old, what's going on with these hormones? What's going on where we're getting crazy? We can't sleep. We are sweating. We are anxious. We lost our ability to enjoy sex or to want sex and all kinds of stuff that I guess that you hear them all day in your clinic.
I hear this kind of misery all day long in my clinic. And I am a hormone specialist, so that's what I'm known for. And women, perimenopause starts in our late 30s and early 40s. And that's when we start to have lower than ideal estrogen levels. And then menopause comes any place around 43 to 48, 45, 46 is very typical. And when we lose our estrogen, Orly, we really lose most of who we feel that we are. See, hormones are about...
What is the importance of the estrogens, of us being what we are and of us being women? Why is it so important?
Estrogen is our most important hormone in terms of being women. And it causes our brain to release serotonin, dopamine, GABA. So the brain, estrogen actually creates our emotions and our thoughts. It helps us to prevent heart disease. It prevents dementia in women. It helps to prevent diabetes and most of the major diseases of aging as women age. So not only does it make us happy and fun and lively and gay and very sexy and beautiful, it absolutely affects our skin. So when women go into low estrogen states in perimenopause and menopause, they become bitter and angry and they can't think. They come into me saying, I can't remember, I can't do my job. And our sleep is interrupted. We basically lose the life that we know we love and have. Women come in saying, I don't even know who I am anymore.
It's like our whole livelihood or energy base is shutting down, as you describe it.
Yes.
So, sorry, complete your answer.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just said that estrogen is part of our software, our body's software.
So I understand that it's a natural thing, that women lose it as years go by, and they lose it and it goes down and down and down. And this starts a cycle of effects that we know as the menopause.
Yes. So menopause is a natural transition that women go through, but death is also natural. Yeah. And we now have technology to help us stay vital, sensual, beautiful, smart, wise. Vital. It's about maintaining who we are for as long as we possibly can. So a lot of women say, well, it's not natural to take this bioidentical estrogen. Is not natural. It's like, it's not natural, but we know how to do it. And it's not natural. If you're having a heart attack or if you're dying from pneumonia, would you say, no, I'm not going to take that unnatural, that unnatural penicillin. I'm not going to do that and die. We're at a stage now where we're very privileged and we know the body's DNA and we know how to support the body in very important ways so that we stay healthy. It's really about being healthy.
Yeah, but the time of the life, the long life that we live now, because of all the science and the drugs and the stuff that makes our life longer, but not necessarily in good, healthy, happy way to live. So what's the point of living until the age of 100 if we suffer, 60 years from them?
Well, I'm always saying to be vibrant, sexy, beautiful, and smart, wise, as long as you live, not to stop at 50 or 60. And what I see in my practice in the clinic is that women come in a few years after they've lost their estrogen or even a few years before, and they are unhappy. They're losing their marriages, they're losing their careers, they're just too tired, Orly, to to go forward. They've lost their vitality. And my patients are always saying, if I have to live this way, I don't want to live at all. So many women come and say, I really don't have a reason to live now. So it's not just bringing their physical body back, it's also helping them to examine why they're here and what they still have to do in life. So many clients, you know, their children are grown and they just don't know who they are anymore. So it's a rediscovering process of what the next step is. What's the next step? What is going to fill them with wonder and joy and excitement for the next 50 years? Because our missions in life change. The first half of our life, it might be, like you said, being a reporter, that kind of reporter in the battlefield. And then as you heard, you went into something much more meaningful. Me too. Yeah, I started out as a young surgeon saving lives, and then I went into a different, more meaningful part of my life. And that's what we help our clients with at the center. Not just the physical body, but also who they actually are and what their potential is. And Jerome Lipstein, you know, who hooked us up, is very, very good with that. And he's on our staff and it's amazing. He's our chairman.
Yeah, and so when women come to your clinic, they get like a holistic, integrated treatment, mind, body, and emotions, and maybe spiritual also, as you describe it.
Yes.
Is that the process? So they go into a process that you take them, you know, you take their hand and you go through this hard phase with them, and then they go not only feeling better physically maybe and having their estrogen level better, but knowing who they are and going through a process of finding their mission in life. Why is it important? Why is it important for women? You know, I have a friend who says, why are you going to so many workshops and lectures and you're always learning something and you're always, you know, on the move? You know, I have my family, I have my life, I don't have this big visions of changing the world like you, and I'm happy with it. So why is it important to find our purpose, and how do we do it?
So not everyone is called. That's what I recognize when I'm working with my clients. Some women, they want to fix their hormones, and I help them elevate and to balance as many as 15 different hormones in menopause, and then they're happy. You know, all they want is they want to just go to the club a little bit better, or they want to just travel, or, you know, they're called to this other realm. So when you're called, Orly, and you don't have the tools to help you, when you know that there's something for your life, you see it, you feel it, you can't get there, that causes, you know, that's the state of the seeker. You know, the seeker wants and knows and wants to unite with something bigger and more true and real than her own self. When I see that, I know, you know, we have to address those issues. And I address those issues joyfully with them, because if not, their life is not going to be the life that they need to have. But it's not everyone. You were called. I was called.
I want to see if I understand what you're saying. You're saying that when a patient comes to you and she's in this suffering from all the symptoms, from lack of hormones, from not sleeping, from sweating, from the heat flashes that comes to her, bad moods, you know, I know that I find myself one day, you know, wanting to, I don't know, eat somebody who's being next to me, and the next day, okay, everything is fine. Wow. So there's ups and downs and stuff. So how can, and you know, the hair, one woman, I asked my community to send questions to you, and one asked me to ask you what's about the hair loss. So there are many questions, and I don't think that women know or have the knowledge of what's going on. And it's a very important phase in life that we move from one part of our lives to another part. In my point of view, the best part, that you have all the wisdom that you didn't have when you were 20 or 30, and all the experience, and you can, really relate to who you are, and do your purpose and serve whom you're supposed to serve.
So menopause is a huge transition in women's lives. And what we do in menopause actually helps to define the next 50 years of our life. So women can live in this scattered, emotional, angry, despairing state where it's very hard to live your life purpose from that state. It's very hard to have the compassion and the understanding and the wisdom to reach out to other women when we're in this state. And really, like you described it very beautifully, women don't sleep, they're irritable, they cry, they're losing their bloom, they're losing their hair, their skin, they're losing their ability to be strong in situations where they need to be strong, and vulnerable when they need to be vulnerable.
Yeah, and when we are young, we don't even think about it. We think that we're going to be young and healthy and beautiful forever. And suddenly we feel that our body is changing, and we not necessarily know how to help him.
That's right.
And most of the treatments that the doctors give women are these synthetic hormones, which cause cancer and all kinds of other health. You trip one problem and you get another problem. So I don't know which is best. But you come, as I understand, with a new vision for women, with a new opportunity that you give women. So I want you to talk a little bit about it.
Well, I would love to, because this is really what I do in life, is I help women go through this transition of menopause. And there are many different transitions we can have. The transition after having a child, the transition of menopause, the transition into marriage. So some of these are purely biochemical changes, but most of them also have emotional and spiritual components to it. So the first thing is that our hormones are our body software. So you go to your computer, you want to boot up, but there's no software on your computer, you're not going to get good data back. Our hormones are exactly that. We need our hormones to be in place and up to date. So as we age, our hormones start to decline, and we don't have the full component of software we need to age well. And the second half of life is all about how to maintain and how to expand on the first half of life. So the first half of life is our life PhD. We're having children, we're learning, we're growing, we're in our businesses, and we're really coming to this very, very lovely state, as you described so well, of understanding life and understanding who we are as women, right? Yeah. And then this physical thing hits us, where we start losing our body software, and then it's a downhill course. So the whole idea of this, Orly, is to maintain the youthful understanding and the wisdom of the ages, and have it in a package in this physical body that actually functions. Because see, our consciousness is carried in the physical body. So if this vessel called the physical body doesn't work, consciousness is not going to be as strong. It's not going to be as fluid and flexible. So we have to take care of the physical body. So why do we lose our hair? Well, in menopause, estrogen causes all the skin to grow and to stay moist and youthful. If not, it becomes wrinkled and dried. We see elderly women, 80-year-old women, 70-year-old women, they're a mass of wrinkles. It's because estrogen has not helped the cells to regenerate in the correct manner. So, this is just part of our cells. And when we don't have estrogen, we lose our hair. Many of your viewers have probably lost their hair after having a baby.
Yeah, there is a time after 3 months where you start losing a bunch of hair. And you get scared, I'm going to be bald in a minute.
That's due to low estrogen and low thyroid. Okay? So the same thing happens again in menopause. When we go into menopause, we lose our estrogen, we lose our thyroid. Thyroid's right here in the neck.
Yeah.
And also we become very stressed in menopause, and our adrenal hormones are located right on the back of our body above the kidneys. And what happens in menopause is those hormones soar and then they crash. So those adrenal hormones are stress hormones. And menopause is very, very stressful to women. So we lose our hair because we've lost our estrogen, we've lost our thyroid, we've lost our adrenal hormones. And what happens? Hair loss. So this happens on almost every level. For example, these bioidentical natural hormones are something that I've used with my clients for 25 years.
Can you explain a little bit about them? What is bioidentical? What are they made? What are they made of? Is how come this is good for our body and the others are not good for our body?
Okay, so that is very important what you just said. The bioidenticals are great for our body, and the synthetic non-bioidenticals are really terrible for our body. And what happened was that when we started this many years ago in the early 40s, really understanding that there possibly was something called a hormone in the body, we didn't really know what it was. And what was created was something that was not really what the body itself made. So as we gained knowledge and skill, we understood, oh, the body makes estrogen and testosterone, and it makes all the adrenal hormones and the thyroid. And we actually knew what the components of those hormones were. So we were able to create those hormones to be exactly the same hormones that you and I and every other woman has. And we replace them using those exact same hormones. And it's night and day. For example, when a woman takes the non-bioidentical hormones, they're called Primer and Provera. I'm not sure what they're called in Israel, but they're still some of the most widely used hormones in the world. Women have more heart attacks, more dementia. You know, they gain a lot of weight, they get depressed, they can't sleep. You know,
this is also a big one that I hear, that you know, I'm eating less, I'm exercising, but I keep gaining weight. It's something that is confusing. Why is it so?
Well, in menopause, women gain about 30 pounds, and some of my patients will gain 100. So what happens is that our metabolism changes in menopause. We actually lose our thyroid hormones. You know, the thyroid is located in the neck, and it speeds up our metabolism and keeps our metabolism at a normal level. So if you put gas in the car and you start to go very, very quickly and, you know, drive really, really fast with that car, you're going to run out of gas. And that's what happens to us in menopause. We lose our hormones, we lose our life, and we lose our ability to grow our hair, to have energy. We turn into fat. We can't build our muscles anymore. So it's really a disastrous set of symptoms and hormones that come together to create unhealth. It's not a healthy state.
And tell me, isn't there a way, you know, with all the development of the science and technology, that we can help our body make these hormones itself, provide itself? Isn't there any way that we have to take it from outside to balance it?
So I always want to help my clients make their own hormones rather than having to take them. You always want that gland to come back and to regenerate itself and to start making its own hormones. So let's talk about the thyroid. The thyroid is the second gland that goes out in menopause. It's the second gland that decreases in menopause. Why do we have low thyroid production? Well, there's a genetic component to it, but it really starts to show itself more in menopause because we're more toxic. We have heavy metals and mercury and lead that's accumulated in our body and is accumulated in the thyroid gland. We're eating years and years of gluten, which is wheat. Also, we run out of iodine, especially after we've had a baby. You know, the more babies we have, the less iodine we have in our body, and we need iodine in order to make thyroid. So what do? I give clients iodine, I detoxify their heavy metals, I give them estrogen, which supports their thyroid gland, and I take them off of gluten, and many, many times that thyroid gland will come back. It's not so with the ovary. We can't bring the ovary back. We just don't know how to do that yet, Orly.
So part of the hormones we can rejuvenate, and some of them we can't. We just lose them, and we have to take them outside. We swallow them, or we take pills for it, or what?
Yeah, usually it's a very pure kind of cream that we put estrogen and testosterone into. So it's a cream that you apply to your body, and the body absorbs the cream very slowly, and it mimics the natural state. And we should not be afraid of these hormones, because there is excellent data showing that the #1 cause of death in a woman is a heart attack. And these bioidentical natural hormones prevent 50% of that kind of death. So, what do most women die of? A heart attack, and we prevent 50% of death from a heart attack by using these bioidentical natural hormones. Now, in the clinic, we've only had 2 clients who have had a heart attack. They're both fine and well. This is 30,000 clients over 30 years.
Wow.
I've only had 2 clients who had a heart attack, and they're both great. Bless them, bless them, bless them. They're great. But, women die from a lot of things. So also dementia, Alzheimer's disease, 50% of Alzheimer's disease is stopped due to taking these bioidentical hormones. So we almost can't not do it. It's so important and so critical in terms of the amount of cancer, diabetes, heart disease, dementia that we prevent, that we owe it to ourselves as women to replace our hormones naturally.
So once you start taking it, you have to take it until the end of your life? This is what you say?
Orly, at any time that women want, they can stop these hormones, or they can decide I'm only going to sleep 3 hours a night, or they decide I'm going to go back and eat gluten, or they can decide I'm done with exercise. I'm not going to exercise anymore. We are the master of our ship. We decide what we want to do. Bioidentical hormones are one very important strategy to help women age well. For example, we prevent 70% of breast cancer in the center with the work that we do there. Now, not everybody chooses that path. And at any time people want, they can decide to come off of hormones. And over the years, I've done this for 30 years with women from almost every country in the world. Over the years, some women will stop. They're back in my office crying in 2 years, saying, oh my God, I can't believe that I did that. Because that's how important our hormones are. When we lose our hormones, we literally lose the joy and wisdom and delight that we have at life. Even those moments you're having when you're feeling angry and kind of irritable, those moments?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, it can be like that 24/7.
Oh my God.
I mean, the first patient that Oprah gave me, I was on Oprah about 3 times. The first patient she sent me was a woman who told me, and she was older. She said, I have had hot flashes for the last 20 years, and I have them every hour. Can you help me? And I said, when are you going back on Oprah? She said, 5 days. I said, you're kidding. You're going to be our poster child for hormones, and I have 5 days to stop something that's happened for 20 years? I mean, it was really scary, let me tell you, because here's the poster child and helping be an example to help all women. That in 4 days, I called her almost every hour. In 4 days, all of her hot flashes stopped. 20 years it happened. And that's just a symptom. That's not like I'm losing my mind. I can't think. I'm getting dementia. I'm having a heart attack. I mean, that's just hot flashes. So we have a choice. We always have a choice. And I urge your viewers, as I urge all of my clients, to make the right choice. Because what we do now in menopause sets the stage for the next 50 years of our life. 50 years of our life.
Wow. Impressive. Listen, I'm looking forward to see you here in Israel, and I know you're coming here next week. Mm-hmm. And I want to talk a little bit about the special event, the evening that you're going to share with us, the women in Israel. Can you say a little bit about it? What's going to be there, and what are the people, the women who come? What can they learn? What can they take to their lives?
Well, I'm really excited to be in Israel. I'm arriving Sunday or Saturday, and our event is on Sunday night.
Yes, next Sunday. A week from now.
A week from now. Yes, it's called What's Next. So I'm putting on the event with Duran Lipstein, and he has brought this together for all of the women. And I call it Girl Talk, because what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what happens in menopause and what do we do about it. And I'm going to actually help clients identify what some of their hormone abnormalities are. Are they suffering from low adrenals? Do they have low thyroid? Are they in perimenopause? What do we do when we're on the birth control pill? Because this is not good for us. And really, how do we create this solid vessel which allows consciousness to flow in the next step of our life to be achieved and realized? So what's next starts with the physical body, because when the body is falling apart, I mean, I think of all the people who are up to really big things in their life, and I've helped Sarah Ferguson, who's part of the royal family, and Cindy Crawford. And
yeah, you have lots of celebrities in your clinic.
Yeah, and I think about these people who are up to really big things in their life. They come to me because they're too tired to achieve what they need to achieve. They can't keep doing their life mission. So people like that realize, I need my body, fix my body. I know what my mission is. I need to go out and do it. And then there are the other people, which most of us are in, where it's like, fix my body. I don't know what I want to do for this second stage of my life. So I'm about the body, and Duran Lipstein is all about what is your life next purpose and who you meant to be and how are you going to actually achieve that.
So it's going to be a combination of what's next in all areas of our life, because we as women, we want and we deserve, that's what I believe, to fulfill ourselves in every aspect of our life, as being mothers or friends or daughters, or in every area that we want to excel and to be in our best. So what you offer really is a path for women who wants to use their all potential and capacities to bring the best of them into the world. Am I right? Did I get it right?
You have summarized this in a perfect way. We deserve this. We are deserving. The love that we have given to others our whole life, we deserve to shine back, to ignite our own love and our own light. And it is a path. It's a path of wellness. You know, being sensual and sexy, so many women lose that aspect of themselves as they age. And then their marriages end up in trouble with heavy problems, and they start to be dismissive and angry and like that. So we deserve to stay and wonderful and powerful, even that we know we can be. I mean, you said it exactly right. And that's what this conversation that we're going to have Sunday night is about. Who are we? Why aren't we able to really go forward with it? Let's identify what it is. And you know, Duran is a master with this. He has led the world leaders and mentors in helping to be more effective in who they are. So I really need to give a lot of credit to him. I'm coming to Israel because he bought Deepak Chopra and Ellen Katie and Robin Sharma. He's bought all those people, and he's bringing me to Israel. So yeah. I am very grateful to him.
And I had the privilege to interview them all and to meet them in person. So, yeah, and I see it as my privilege to be this bridge to bring the messages of these great teachers and mentors and healers from all over the world here to Israel, because, you know, we need a lot of healing in this region, in this area. And us women should take, as I see it, a strong or a meaningful part in this change, in this transformation to a better world, to a more fulfilled world, to a more calm and peaceful area. And it starts within us, right?
It starts within us, and Israelis have a life PhD in terms of what's been happening in their country, in terms of avoiding attack, being proactive in terms of their lives, keeping their families together. You have so much knowledge to share with the world. Given the Parisian attacks, I mean, I think that there's nobody more qualified to help those people deal with the tragedy that they're dealing with and to protect themselves in the future than the Israeli nation and the Israeli people. So yes, one of the reasons why I'm so drawn to Israel is I am grateful for all of your knowledge and suffering and abilities to deal with life on a very, very important level. So there's life and there's death, and you deal with this every day. So my joy would be for Israelis to step up and to say, we have a unique gift to offer everyone. And I want to help make sure your physical bodies can do this. I want to be there to help make sure that physically you don't decline in menopause, that you become better and better, like a ripe special wine, you know. So when we're actually giving our gifts, it's from our highest potential and really our most united self. And you are part of that, Orly. Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you so much for being here. And we have also a present gift for the viewers that are here on the show and everybody who signed for the show, that we give them a special discount with a special link that I will send all the women, all the beautiful women that signed, even if they're not able to be on the live show. I will send them a link with a discount so they can be with us on Sunday night. I'm definitely going to be there. You are definitely going to be there. And Doron is definitely going to be. And I hear some more beautiful Israeli leaders are going to be there, women leaders. So thank you, Prudence, very much for sharing the knowledge and for sharing your heart with us here in the show and in coming to Israel. And I want to conclude, if you have, you know, for the people who are here, 2 or 3 small tips, like tomorrow morning when I wake up, is there anything as a woman that I can do to feel more vibrant, to feel more energy in my body, to be more happy? If you have some tips, I would love if you could share them now in the last 2-3 minutes that we have.
Oh, that's very powerful. Of course, if you had hormones, I would say take your morning hormones. That would be my first thought. But for all of our viewers who are not on hormones or who haven't determined really what's wrong with them yet, I believe in starting the morning with a practice. And it's a meditation practice where you go in and connect to the source of who you are. And it's different from a prayer where we're speaking. In meditation, we're receiving. So we go into the receiving state. And women so often give. But what I would love is for us to receive. And what we receive is we bring consciousness. We allow consciousness and our own soul essence to connect. And we relax into the state of really expansion in a higher vibration. And so many of my patients tell me that when they begin the morning like this, it sets the tone for the whole day. And next, I would love to really have some type of a creative activities. For some people, it's walking and noticing nature. For other people, it's journaling a small amount about their life. 2 lines of a poem, 2 lines of what they really love about life to remind them. So it's bringing our creative essence into the morning. The morning is a time of regeneration. It's a time of new birth. Every time we open our eyes, we have the potential to be new and to be reborn. So
wow, that's beautiful.
Who we are, we journal to remind ourselves, and then to be loved. To be loved. We don't need to have that partner to wake up with us right next to us to be loved. We can just be loved. You know, we get the cappuccino, we're loved, thank you. You know, we greet our children, darlings, good morning, darlings, hello, hug, the word love. And so those are the three things. A meditation practice or some kind of a consciousness practice, connecting to our creativity, which is the core of who we are and how we manifest our dreams, and allowing us to be a vehicle for love.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful tips. I did check on all three of them. And so Prudence, Dr. Hall, thank you very much again for being, and I'm sorry for the technical disturbance that were in the broadcast. And we are happy to have you here next week and to be in Sunday at 7 o'clock at Bet Tzionei America. I'll say it in Hebrew. So everybody is invited to be with us and to this was only a taste of what we are going to get on Sunday, right?
A little taste.
A little taste. So thank you very much, Prudence. God bless you. And we'll see you soon here in Israel.
Blessings and thank you really from my heart for having me here.
Bye-bye.
Bye.